going for a little walk. Whoa, pretty muddy, pretty muddy. Oh yeah, we've been getting a lot of rain, but getting the dog, Evie, getting the dog out for a little bit. Let her get some steps in. It's great to be back in Costa Rica, back getting locked in on the diet and on the training routine. You know, traveling is amazing, love it. Really opens up your mind when you see other types of the way other people are living out there. Things that are normal in different countries that are maybe not normal in your country, different ways of life, just really widens your view on the world. But I will say, it's not impossible, but it's much more difficult to stay dialed with your diet and your training and stuff. It's not impossible, no excuse that it can't be done, because I was still getting workouts in whenever I travel and I still eat relatively good, but sometimes things are just out of your control and you just kind of end up eating a bunch of garbage. So it's good to be back doing a pretty interesting new diet. So never done this before, but giving it a try of going gluten-free, going dairy-free, and trying to avoid seed oils at all costs. When you cut out those three things, you basically cut out, I'm gonna say about 90% of what you find in the grocery store. So majority things end by it, just as a byproduct, you just end up eating way less junk food, because nearly all the packaged things that you find in the grocery store have one of those three things, if not all of them. I mean, most things have gluten, nearly everything has seed oils, and I can say I've never eaten so clean. You know, I've always had a relatively decent diet, eating relatively good, but never this clean. Basically all I'm eating is protein, so whether that's fish, chicken, meat, eggs on a pretty much every breakfast, lunch, and then fruit, vegetables. Still keeping like rice, you know, you can have like beans and vegetables and potatoes and things like that, but I can say feeling really good, lots of mental clarity. And I find that I always, a lot of times, have like just this brain fog that just takes a while to just clear out from my brain. And in the morning, I feel like it just takes me forever to get up and going. Right now, I get up and I feel just ready to get after it right away. So really cool. I'll keep you guys posted on how it continues going. Been doing it for about a week now. Did have one cheat meal where I had a pasta bolognese, which had gluten, and the gluten felt so heavy in my stomach. So just pretty interesting, trying a different new diet type thing and see how it goes, you know. Try to always be trying different things, don't get too locked in one way of doing stuff. All right, we've made it to the beach. All right, we're out here. Beautiful day out. Evie getting those steps in. While we were gone, she was on her own diet. She was just eating whatever she wanted apparently. Came back, she was like probably like 5 pounds heavier than when I left. So not only am I on the diet, but also Evie is back on her diet. She's eating like ground beef, some cuts of meat, eggs, a little bit of dog food mixed in there, but I try to mix in some like some healthier stuff. And then also, as far as training wise, we joined a new MMA gym here, and my boy Titus, who you guys might remember from the OG video days way back when it started, he's down here. So we both joined this MMA gym, and we're doing some kickboxing classes there, so we have that going on later. And then I might be going up to jiu-jitsu class after that. So jiu-jitsu I've been doing for a while, pretty fun, BJJ to be specific, but it's been a really fun side hobby, and met some cool people through it, and just a good time. You know, you really gotta think about stuff. It really challenges your mind, kind of trains you to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations when people are trying to choke you out, trying to break your limbs. But I've been fortunate enough to train with people who are relatively chill. You know, they're not about trying to break each other's limbs and injure each other. They're about like rolling in like a friendly manner and in a way that you can practice regularly and continuously, and not trying to injure the other people, but like friendly rolls where you can just practice the technique, drill, and get better. So might be doing those two things later on. Exciting stuff. What else is going on? Oh yeah, so as far as training wise, since I am doing the kind of the MMA stuff, so I've been working on my jiu-jitsu, my grappling game, which is everything to do with submissions, takedowns, stuff of that nature, but then also working on my stand-up game. So that's striking, kicks, knees, elbows, and then, you know, MMA is learning how to, you know, take all that, that's why it's called mixed martial arts, take all of those different aspects and put it all together. So it really is a lot. It's a lot more than you first originally would think if you just think a little bit of learn about it. It's like, oh, you know, you just like learn how to fight and boom boom, but it's like there's jiu-jitsu, an aspect to it, a huge aspect. There's wrestling, there's striking, kicks, there's takedown defense, there's takedowns, there's so much stuff to it, and it's a lot to try to learn, but I'm just trying to learn bits by bits and try to become as well-rounded as possible. But on that note, a big part of that is cardio. So I've never really done run in the past, but I'm making it a point to at least once or twice a week go for a bit of a run, even if it's not the longest run, just kind of get that heart rate going and working on that cardio, because that's a big part of the training, is the cardio aspect. It's not just being strong, big muscles and stuff, it's being, you know, athletic, being able to go the rounds, go the distance. So we're gonna get a little run in over to this waterfall that's just down the beach a little bit. All right, let's get going. And we're going barefoot, of course. So one thing about when you're running barefoot is you can't heel strike, which you can do sometimes with bigger shoes. So whew. Okay, got the heart rate going. Oh, definitely more painful running without shoes. But that's another thing, is running. You know, everything seems so simple on the surface, and then you dive into it and go down the rabbit hole, and you realize how much detail and technique and stuff goes into something as simple or basic sounding as running. But then there's so many different ways to run, and there's different ways, and you know, the kind of the default way a lot of people run, especially when you run with big thick running shoes which have the thick heel, is you tend to do what's called heel striking. So you kind of like land on your heel and you're not using your natural like shock absorbers, which are your legs, and you're just kind of striking on your heel, relying on that thick foam. But the problem is it's not really good for your knees, and that's how you give yourself knee problems and stuff if you do a lot of running. So not that I'm some running expert, but this is just from what I've learned and from experience. So I've been learning like different ways, different techniques, and it's funny because if you just run barefoot, you automatically stop landing on your heels, because if you try to run on your striking with your heels first, then barefoot, that hurts really quickly, because it's just, there's no foam there to cushion it. So the shock just goes straight up your knee, and you really quickly stop doing it. So the better way to run, which you kind of will do by default if you run barefoot, is kind of land more like in the middle of your foot. And this just puts a lot less strain on your knees and uses a little bit of your calves, a little bit of your legs to absorb the shock. And from what I've heard online, seems to be the much better way for you to run. You know, it's different for different people, but yeah, just my 2 cents. All right, continuing along. there is this massive cliff just up here. It's a huge waterfall, and I used to not, for a long time I didn't know this was here because it's actually just a little entrance from the road. Check out that vine. Just a little entrance from the road that doesn't look like there should be anything up here. It really just looks like there was a little landslide. And one day I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go see what's up there. Turns out there is a crazy, I don't want to say waterfall, but it's a huge cliff with a bit of a waterfall when there's enough water. So right now there's enough rain that there's a bit of water falling. Check this out. Check out this tree, Pachote tree. Trying to do some damage. Ooh. And also, if you guys didn't know, Evie over here has her own Instagram page where sometimes she posts little reels, Instagram, little pictures. It's called Evie's World. All right, almost there. Ah! Almost walked into the spider. Almost there. Oh. Oh. And there we go. This is what I was talking about. Pretty sweet. That. So, pretty sick. Bit of water falling from there. Sick view. I mean, just look at that. Come on, Evie. And another bonus of getting out for this little hike, getting a bit of sunlight. Sunlight, very important, as you already probably know. But I find sometimes it's easy to forget, and no matter where I'm at, even when I'm living in Dallas, in the city, still make it a point to get a little bit of direct sunlight, even if it just means going on the porch for a little bit, going to a park, going to something, and you know, depending on your skin tone, you might be able to take a little more sun or a little bit less, but just getting that little bit especially helps with the mood and stuff. And you know, it's sometimes a year it's not sunny all the time, so you might only get a quick little moment of sunlight. For example, right now it's a pretty cloudy day. It's cloudy all morning, then the sun came out for a quick moment, so we're out here. Looks like the storm is rolling in, so we're gonna make our way back. We should get back to work. Had our little outing, back to the computer. Oh, bro, I'm not ready. All right.
Where am I at?
You're at 12.
12. Fuck, all right. Fuck. We're strong, bro.
Yes, sir. All right, we are back from that nice little outing, got some cardio in, went for a nice little walk, and Evie got her steps in, so that was good. Next up, we are onto the computer to get a little bit of work done. Still working with this video game named ScarQuest, doing some educational videos, some tutorials, kind of showing how to do some stuff in game, and just whatever is needed to be done. So I'll give you a little sneak peek at what's going on over here. We got the setup. By the way, for the longest time, I edited just off my laptop's built-in screen for years and years. Like when I started YouTube, you know, had my 13-inch laptop, thing barely was holding up to editing, but it got the job done for a long time. And then, more recently, I made the decision to get my first external monitor. Went with this ultra-wide LG, and wow, amazing, amazing. It connects right up to my laptop and just mirrors everything here, so I can still always just take my laptop on the go if I need to. But just having all this bigger real estate makes video editing, doing multitasking, having different screens up so nice. So over here I have the game running, just to show you guys. It runs on both mobile, on the phone, and also on desktop through Steam, both Mac and Windows. But I actually have a guild in here. Let's see, where's the guild? We have the Booyah clan over here. We are actually in second place out of all 20 guilds that are currently there. And here we go. There is me in fourth place of the guild. Man, I gotta get up there a little more. Gotta get my points up. But if any of you check out the game, feel free to join the clan while there's still space. I'll accept you in, of course. And yeah, this is the game. And then over here we have the current edit. Was just doing a little tutorial on how to use the Mexi exchange. Alright, that's what we're doing for now. Catch you guys in a bit. Update, what's up next on the schedule. We're heading to Kickboxing. Stopped at the store real quick to get a little Monster Energy. Not all the time, you know, I know they're not the healthiest, but you know, sometimes you just need that little bit of that little energy to carry you through. So we are on that Mango Loco Monster Energy. Cheers, guys. Let's get it.
What's up, man?
What's up? What's up? Woo. All right, we are off to class. Yes, sir.
Off we are.
The gym is up there. You can maybe see the punching bag through the window. All right, let's go. Mission class done. We are now driving back from kickboxing, and every time after a good training session, you just get this like flood of just, you know, feel-good chemicals, whether that's dopamine or serotonin, or not serotonin, what's the other chemical? The other feel-good brain chemical? It might be serotonin, or I might be mixing it up with another one. In any case, whenever you just exert yourself like that, always you just feel great afterward. It kind of takes a little bit to kick in, but you just feel so calm and at ease. You know, this is one thing martial arts helped me a lot with. A while back is when I first started, like probably like 7-8 years ago was the first time I remember just having like all this like built up frustration for whatever reason, and just not having like an outlet or a place to put it, and just being like super frustrated and stuff. And then that was kind of around the time, and then I started doing jiu-jitsu, and that was just like the most perfect thing to start doing, because you can like just exert yourself, get out like all this stuff, even though when you're training, you're trying to be a good training partner, you're not trying to injure the other person and stuff, but you just like get to push yourself and exert yourself in a way that you don't really get to in most of life. And I remember that just being like the best thing ever to discover. So definitely can highly recommend a martial art for, I mean, man or woman, but like especially for like any young guy out there who, you're just like maybe feeling frustrated, not feeling it in life, and whether it's just like frustration with girls or frustration with whatever, martial arts is just like a great place. It can be jiu-jitsu, it can be it can be Muay Thai or kickboxing or just boxing or really any type of thing. But there's like it just hits different than hitting the gym. I will say, I love lifting weights and working out, and that's like a different type of high and feel good. But what you feel after like a martial art, especially something where there's like live rounds at the end of class, where you're being playful with it, but you're kind of going up against another person and like kind of getting to really test some of your skills and things you've been practicing. I don't know, it just hits so different. Welcome to the next day. So yesterday was super beat from training, and I don't really film anything during the class because everyone's there to train. I'm not trying to waste people's time, and maybe in the future I'll set up the camera or do something. But sometimes when you're just showing up to class, you just want to, you show up, you put the wraps on, you put your gloves on, and you're just going one drill after the other, one exercise after the other. You don't really want to be there trying to mess about with the camera and not be focused on the training. But it was good. We usually start off with some type of warm-up, some jump rope, some different type of kind of, not just stretching, but kind of like light movements to kind of get warmed up. Then do some different drills, some different bag work, and then sometimes we do some really light sparring at the end, super light. I mean, I probably go like 30%, 20-30%. You're really just kind of just practicing throwing the punches, throwing kicks, moving around, blocking, getting the rhythm. But anyways, next day now, and we have the passenger princess over here. This is the 6.0 dumpster diver, brought her back from Indo, and we are about to get dusted out again, part 2. But we're going to surf at a certain surf spot, beating up with Titus, and we're gonna see if we get some waves, Oh look, it's just the phone. There was just the phone in the back of the truck, loose. Wow. Good sesh, good sesh. How was the session?
Good sesh, man. Good sesh. Good waves.
Got a couple fun ones. Yeah, you're just gonna have to take my word. Landed some rodeo flips, a couple back flips in there, some crazy barrels, and yeah, just pretty much everything. But like, I don't have any footage to prove it, so you guys are just gonna have to take my word. little cruise down to this river.
Leaving up all them guayabas, bro.
Whoa, this branch is wanted to fall.
Should we try and knock it over? We might be able to.
Might be kind of dangerous. It's pretty big. Making our way along the path of least resistance.
All that tube. Wow. Yeah, the thick of it, man.
In the thick of it. Whoa, look at that flower.
Yo!
What the heck? I don't know if I've ever seen that specific flower.
I could tell you.
Soon we'll have a little AI in a pair of glasses or in a contact lens, and it'll be giving us live information of what we're looking at.
The closest we have right now is Google Lens. That kind of works.
A whole bunch of little shroomy guys growing up there. Pretty cool. And then I think that's I don't know, that might be a different type of mushroom or just ones that are older and have flopped over. But wow, super lush and nice, very nice. And there we have arrived, or we are arriving to the waterfall that we've been coming to. Wow, that is some memory lane, because I remember coming to this waterfall years ago. Way long ago. And it has been so long. But it looks the same.
Slightly. It's a bit different. I remember it used to push out.